Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast. Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Greg Braggs Jr. with you. Nicholas Moreano joining us shortly as he gets back from House Hall. Some things were running a little bit long today. It was a busy day over there, and so he will join us in progress when he is ready to go. I know there was a TJ Edwards conversation going on when I was on my way back to leave. So we'll get the latest from Nick on all that. CHGO Bears training camp coverage is presented by Ray Chevrolet. Shop the Freedom to Save sales event all month long by visiting Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive. Carm?
Well, hello, Adam. Hello, Greg. Hello, Nick. In a couple of minutes, another day, another Bears defense banged up. And, it's just great to see Greg Braggs Jr. out there today. I thought he was lording over the bleachers. He's the only one that stands on the bleachers. He doesn't worry about the people that are behind him, because why would anybody think about the people behind him when he's taking notes to the level that he's taking notes? And, Greg was upset with me today, and he took shots at me, but I loved having Greg there. So,
don't distract me. I'm doing my thing. You start yapping, and I don't like the distraction.
I will say there was a heckler from the stands that at one point yelled at Carm, "Lose some weight." That heckler was Greg Braggs Jr. So that was a little over the line. But Greg is rocking a Cole Kmet shirt today from Cole's camp.
His kids' camp.
His kids' camp, yes. And I think that's appropriate because we announced some big news this morning, some big CHGO news. And, if you missed it for some reason, Cole Kmet's going to have his own show on CHGO. It's called The 85 with Cole Kmet. It's going to debut next week. I could tell you... we're going to play the teaser from Cole a little bit later on in the show, but I can tell you just from working on this project now for a few months, quite frankly, Cole is fired up about this. He is, if you've seen him he's a natural in front of the microphone. We all know that. He's been great with us for over the last, 12 months working with us, and he's fired up about this. He is extremely organized. He's going to have interviews with teammates. He's going to be breaking down things that happen on in the game, in the games, and it's going to be it's going to be awesome this season. And I do want to point out, Cole's still going to be on this show, not quite as frequently as last year because he's going to have his own show to do too. But it's not like he's leaving us here on CHGO Bears as well. So we got plenty of Cole Kmet coming up this season, and just right now, please go look it up. It's a separate YouTube channel. That's big. So don't leave this here, but maybe open up a new window if you're watching live, whatever you're doing. Find the 85 with Cole Kmet and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, start growing this thing a little bit. And same thing on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to podcasts, it's a separate podcast feed. So look it up, the 85 with Cole Kmet, and you'll be ready to go there.
So I'm super excited about it, and I'm very excited about, Adam's, your contribution, whatever that will be. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. And of course, Bragg's working with Adam Rank. And I'd also like to announce that it is true that Tyson Bajan and I are working on a podcast. We can't announce it right now, but we're working deeply with the Bajan people. And
well, maybe you and Travis for sure. I mean, that'd be a home run there. We'll get it in the works. That's a good idea.
Yeah, well, since nobody on the show wants to work with anybody on this show, it's good that we're all branching out. And I think that, and then we just come together to tolerate each other for an hour a day. I think this is the perfect time. All right, with that, can we get into best and worst? And Hoge, why don't you kick that off, buddy?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it was, a choppy day at House Hall. We're going to get into that. I feel like I've said that a lot, and that's where I'm just starting to feel a little bit uneasy. But let me start with the good. The best of the day was, as I was honestly today getting out there a little bit late with the Cole Kmet announcement today, a lot going on. And as I'm kind of walking out there, they'd already started some team drills, or at least 7-on-7. And I could just tell from my vantage point, I'm like, 15 catch. I know he made a nice catch that you detailed, Braggs, on Twitter, and I happened to see it right as I was walking into the stands, where it kind of looked like Caleb was about to throw an interception, and he jumped. Was it Brisker? Was it?
I didn't catch the DB.
But anyway, Rome jumped in there and basically took the ball away, and the referee said his feet were in bounds too. So that was a really nice play. Love seeing number 15, explode onto the scene here, and it's going to be fun watching him in these preseason games. And I do think we are going to see these guys play on Saturday in Buffalo for at least a quarter, regardless of what's going on the offensive line. But that's where I got to go with my worst, because there's just too many guys not finishing practice. I get it. Injuries happen. But Terrell Smith didn't finish practice today. Now that looked like a legitimate injury where he went up and made a nice play to knock the ball away downfield, but then landed awkwardly and he didn't come back. And Terrell Smith's actually a pretty decent player and a big depth player for the Bears. Darnell Wright, I don't know what's been going on with him. He comes back from practice. I don't know if he re-aggravated something, but all of a sudden he's limping around pretty badly and he's trying to gut it out, which I give him credit for. But after a few plays, it was just too much, and he ends up not finishing practice. Andrew Billings, I don't know if that was planned to just not do team drills, but he all of a sudden started walking over to the Bears Peloton team that's looking pretty big and mighty these days on those bikes that they're riding in the middle of practice. And I don't know, guys, it's just adding up. It seems like a lot. Coleman Shelton, he did finish practice, good for him, but at one point he was limping too. And I get it. It's camp. Their pads are on. Guys are going to get dinged up, but it just seems to be adding up. So that's my worst today.
Gregory, you're up, my friend. Nobody would quibble, I don't think, with anything Adam just said. What do you got, my friend?
No, not at all. I mean, to your point, Hoge, in terms of Darnell Wright getting banged up and Coleman Shelton walking off limping, it was on the very same play. The first play of thud session, not live because they weren't fully tackling, but they were hitting. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong in terms of this being maybe the most physical first team reps. It's definitely the most physical first team reps I've seen so far in the open practices I've been to. Would you guys agree or disagree that there's been more physical reps in closed practices?
No, I would agree with you that there hasn't been, but I would quibble with you slightly that I don't think it's overly physical out there. I don't know if you're quite saying that. Like, I think
because to Hoge's point, and I'll get to my best and worst, on that very first play of thud session, 11 on 11, Coleman Shelton and Darnell Wright roll on top of each other, and they're both holding their legs. It looked like a mass unit, like one play in. And Darnell Wright tried to play like 2 more reps on that session, and then he didn't practice the rest of the day. Coleman Shelton did finish his day. So my best, in terms of the physicality of the thud sessions, watching Caleb Williams step up and maneuver in the pocket is really starting to stand out to me. You know, last week I talked a lot about how they worked on anticipation throws in different windows, back shoulders, coming back to the front pylon. And I really enjoyed watching that touch and anticipation from Caleb. But then today, what really stood out to me was the way he steps up in the pocket, the way he climbs the pocket and maneuvers from left to right to open up throwing windows and or to bail out of the pocket, which he really doesn't do all that often in any of these team sessions. He tries to keep his eyes downfield for the most part. And Javon Dexter, echoed those sentiments at one point in his press conference. I think you were there, guys, where he said, the biggest challenge with Caleb Williams is his mobility in the pocket. And it's definitely the way he comes back in his drop and feels, whether it's the edge pressure or pressure coming up the middle, he just does a really good job of flowing forward, side, right. He does a great job of tucking his shoulder to protect himself from, a pass rusher, and sometimes he'll keep the ball out with both hands and really showing like an emphasis of ball security. So his pocket presence to me really stood out today, which is why maybe I was a little higher on some of the things I was seeing on offense than others. And then my worst, I could go a few different places. Yesterday I didn't get an opportunity to mention this, so I'm just going to say it again today. Rome Odunze continues to be at the forefront of punt drills. And I just have no interest in him returning punts this season. You brought in DeAndre Carter. You have Dante Pettis. You have Tyler Scott. I just don't want our top 10 pick returning punts. I'm sorry. I don't think he's really a great fit for it. He didn't really return that many punts in college. I'm not saying he's not capable. He yesterday in the rain, he did, or the wet conditions, I should say, he did have a dropped punt at one point, during one of the sessions. Today they had him back out there working on it some more. And I'm not a big fan of that they're putting this on his plate. I want him to just be comfortable learning how to become a wide receiver in the NFL. And so the more I see him as like the second option behind DeAndre Carter as a punt returner, the more I'm like, come on, like, let's get somebody else in there. And let's let the top 10 pick worry about other things.
Nicholas Moreano, I believe, has arrived. If we can pop Nick in here as well, that would be, there it is. Now we feel whole. Nick, welcome to it. We've got, we're in the middle of best and worst. I'm sure you picked that up. Nick, you want to jump in here with your best and your worst?
Yeah, real quickly. My best, just DeAndre Swift. We saw the one-handed catch on a screen pass, but Shane Waldron, really, when he was identifying some of the positives from the offensive play today, he identified the running backs, and Swift definitely is somebody that, when he gets in the open field, you could see the burst that he creates. And then for my worst, and I thought about you, Carm, when I was thinking about my worst, there was a play where Jack Sanborn came off a blitz. Tyson Bagent was in there, and you know what? It was San God versus Bagent God. I just didn't know how to feel for you, Carm, because Tyson Bagent would have gotten lit up if this is a real rep, but that's going to be my worst from the day in terms of for Tyson Bagent. He just wouldn't have looked good after Jack Sanborn laid down the hammer on that play.
The sand god was cooking. I actually enjoyed that, the offense. Bagent had his moments today. My best, when I was walking into practice or around to the bleachers today, Caleb threw a fade to the corner to Keenan, who beat Jalen Johnson by half a step, whatever it was. Beautiful throw, as good as it could be. Keenan hauls it in, gets 2 feet down. At least that's what the official ruled. And Keenan was talking yesterday about how he's got to get his first catch on JJ. And so there it was. Jalen screaming at the official. He was out of bounds, but the guy gave him the touchdown. I don't care if he was in or if he was out. It was a sweet freaking throw, and it was a great catch. And shout out to Jalen Johnson, who's had an absolutely phenomenal camp. It is very hard to get a completion on that guy, literally anywhere all over the field. What an asset for the Bears. And my negative is the offense did not look good today for me. I think for most people watching it. And look, it didn't look good. And the Bears defense did not have Montez Sweat, Tyreek Stevenson, Kyler Gordon, Andrew Billings for the first practice, Jaquan Brisker, all those guys not out there, and the offense not being there. It makes me nervous. And not even nervous, because it's okay with me that if the Bears play the long game here, they don't have to win the Super Bowl this year. But I don't right now. To me, it's very unlikely that they're going to hit the ground running week 1. I know we have a lot of time to go until week 1, but that's the offense struggling against a month. I got it. But the offense struggling against that defense today, that ain't great.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to get to, and I want to continue to hammer this out, especially on the offensive side, because I think there's some differing opinions on what this offense is right now, what it can be. I am honestly sort of torn in my own analysis of what I'm seeing with my own eyes, because I see a lot of good. I see a lot of things that are concerning at the same time, and a lot of things that are concerning are some of the same things that kind of seem to always be concerning with the Bears offense. But this is a new offense, so we're going to break that all down here in the next segment. But first, let's talk about our friends at ComEd, because it is getting easier for businesses to switch to electric vehicles, and that is something we can all get behind for the health of the planet and for the well-being of all of us who share it.
That would be you, Gregory, but I can jump in here.
No, yeah, you take it. I stole it from you yesterday.
No, okay. Absolutely no problem. That is absolutely correct, Adam Hoge. The electric grid is evolving to meet your cleaner energy needs as we all move with confidence towards an electric tomorrow. Whether a one delivery van or a whole fleet of shipping trucks, ComEd can help guide you to make the changes that make sense.
So what should business owners do, Greg or Carm?
And that would be they would go to ComEd.com/clean, and they'll learn more about the resources, fleet rebates, and infrastructure incentives available to help businesses go electric. If you own a business, don't wait. Be ready for your read. Start making your plan today to switch to electric vehicles. Good for business, good for the planet, good for all of us. Go to ComEd.com/clean.
Did you say ComEd.com/clean?
You know I did. Go now and see how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come. And I also like to tell you about our friends at Mint Mobile. I do love a deal, a great deal, as much as the next guy. But look, I'm not going to give everything up to get there. That's the beauty of Mint Mobile. They make it easy for you to get your wireless deal for $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. It's amazing. $15 a month. Longest part of the process, you got to break up with your old provider. That's no problem. Then you go to mintmobile.com/CHGO. 3-month plans, $15 a month, including the unlimited plan. You're getting it all. Find out how easy it is to get Mint Mobile for that 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. This is what you do. You go to our new 3-month premium wireless plan. You go to mintmobile.com/CHGO. Mintmobile.com/CHGO. And when you do it, it is $45 upfront payment required. New customers on the first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
All right. So, look, I think it's kind of easy to talk about the defense. Everybody seems pretty bullish on the defense. If there's two concerns about the defense at all, it's who's the number 2 pass rusher. And honestly, you've seen some encouraging signs from people already on the roster in that area. And then the second question is, what is the health of the secondary, which continues to be concerning because you did have another practice today with no Kyler Gordon, with no Jaquan Brisker, which answers my question from earlier. That couldn't have been Jaquan Brisker in coverage because he wasn't practicing. Thank you. We all have some fried brains here today.
That would be a Carm Senior. Well, we can call it a Carm Senior moment.
Yeah.
I'll Carm Senior moment you.
We got there eventually. And then no Tyreek Stevenson, and then Terrell Smith, the depth. He leaves practice. So, yes, secondary, but none of that stuff seems all that concerning. I think we know what the Bears have on paper. When we talk about this offense, though, I think it's more sort of, for me, it's right down the middle where I could see this going well. I could also, to where it sounds like Carr might be, see them getting off to somewhat of a rough start, maybe being last year's defense where it didn't look good at all early. And then by the end of the year, the right pieces arrived and it all sort of came together. I could see that playing out too. Mm-hmm. My question, and Nick, I'll start with you on this one, but it's very simple. Based on what you've seen so far, the good and the bad with this Bears offense under new offensive coordinator Shane Waldron, do you feel like the glass is half full or half empty?
I would go half full. I mean, we're seeing so many new pieces, guys in and out, and yet, like I pointed to last time, like we're still seeing some success in 2-minute drills, things like that. But one area that we don't get to really talk about that I think is actually showing signs in the training is the run game. Like we're never able to see what that really can look like, but yet they do have some dynamic players in that backfield, and we know they have guys at the receiver position. It's just gonna. You need to see what offensive lines in front of them so you can capitalize on those weapons. But I would definitely go half full. I'm not going to take these, last couple practices and make some grand distinction that this offense is not going to be good because we haven't seen it in training camp. But like it does need to come together. But I'm definitely half full on this offense and what the potential it can be with Caleb Williams at the helm.
It's an interesting comment by Pidge right here. Bears are lucky the front half of the schedule is easier than the back half. I do wonder how that plays out because I almost believe like if you're going to lose, if you're going to start slow, it's almost like let's get our head kicked in by the good teams. And then by the end of it, you start rolling and you're playing teams that you can beat and the offense is that much better and that now the wins start piling up. It's going to be, if you're off to a slow start and then you start losing games that you shouldn't lose, maybe you get a whole lot better.
It's going to hurt them.
Hurt them. Right. Now you're playing, whatever. Maybe it's a great Lions team that's everyone's expecting or a very good Green Bay team. And you play a great game, but you lose. So, that which, again, for me, if that's how this goes, but the offense gets a whole lot better by the end of the year and you see like Caleb is the dude, it would suck to miss the playoffs again, but I would leave the season like sweet. They are in the freaking right direction, and you know it, and they're gonna pop next year. So I'm just one of a zillion scenarios that could happen.
To give you a comp on that real quick, but you're saying it's kind of like if the Texans had lost that game in Week 18 last year. Now they won it and they made the playoffs, but remember it came down to the last game, and even if it hadn't gone their way, they could have gone home that night being like, "We got our guy in CJ Stroud," and still we'd still be talking about them the same way.
Yep, and that was against the Jaguars too. That was a pretty ugly game, right?
That was Colts. They played the Colts in Week 18.
Okay.
I believe it was that last Sunday night game, right, with the playoffs on the line.
Right.
If I'm remembering that all correctly, and the Colts were the team that went home. Unless I'm forgetting something there, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. But anyway, Greg, where are you on this with glass half full, glass half empty?
Yeah, I like this. I definitely am glass half full, and that's probably no surprise to me. There's no reason to not be glass half full in the first year of an offense, first year quarterback. You shouldn't be sounding off any kind of alarms. And I think maybe the conversation of Carm talking about whether or not they're going to be ready week one or how they'll fare in the first half of their schedule, which does have some favorable games on paper. Always hard to tell that at this point of the year, is a different conversation. Wins and losses versus where this offense is at and how we should feel. And as I mentioned in our best and worst, I'm seeing a willingness to throw with anticipation in windows, whether the play is complete or not. I mean, if we're talking about, everybody keeps wanting to ask, what's the difference between Justin and Caleb? What's the difference between last year's camp and this year's camp? I mean, that's like the biggest difference is Caleb Williams has the willingness to throw with anticipation into windows before the player is there. And Justin, more times than not, had to wait for the player to be open and turn around for him to let go of the football. On top of that, we've talked about it a million times. Caleb Williams, his ability to throw on the move is impressive at all three levels. He's got the little touch throws on the move over the linebacker's head on the sidelines into the red zone for a touchdown. Feet didn't get in bounds. He's had throws on the move where he rockets it to Tyler Scott, leading him with a perfect ball placement. Tyler Scott called it a very catchable ball that Caleb Williams throws. We've seen great back shoulder throws. His post routes, he throws with conviction. He's got a hell of a fastball. As I said in best and worst, the way he climbs the pocket certainly is of note. So all these things don't happen play after play after play, but you can see, I think they're even more than just flashes, a consistency in some of these things that he's doing. Now, with everything that's going on around him with the offensive line injuries and trying to learn through cadence and the development of the offense, I still think there's a long ways to go. But at the same time, I am highly encouraged by what I'm seeing. Tyler Scott today had a nice day, I thought, catching the football. Rome Odunze had a nice day, especially early on, making some nice plays. Keenan Allen and DJ Moore speak for themselves. Gerald Everett is going to be someone that surprises Bears fans that I don't think that haven't watched him, how good he actually is. I didn't realize it until I saw him this year at camp. Cole Kmet's kind of the one we're kind of waiting for to really break into this and get involved because there's just one football. But there's just overall, looking at it on its surface, I know it's a long way to go. I'm not getting ahead of my skis, but the things that I'm encouraged about show me that they got the right guy in Caleb Williams.
And just quickly to answer your Hoge for me, half full all day. I mean, I'm not, but what was interesting to me today is like, they didn't have a good day today, and I made it my worst. But I didn't watch practice day like, this sucks. They're terrible today. It just felt like a standard day right now. That's not great. Like that's just to me, this is what it's been so far, which is fine. But it wasn't like it didn't stand out because there was some good, there was some bad, and that's what we've seen basically all camp so far.
It depends on what means the most to you, right, Carm? I mean, the 2-minute drill was pitiful. It was probably their worst 2-minute drill of all of training camp. They were 3 and out. Not just Caleb Williams had a intentional grounding where he threw it out of bounds as the defense sniffed out a screen pass. So he just chucked it out of bounds. He gets an intentional grounding. They move it back. And that entire series got blown up. DeMarcus Walker's, barking at him coming off the field that you guys ain't shit, but there were other moments within today's practice. DeAndre Swift continues to flash in the run game, as Nick mentioned. They had a really nice run up the middle where DeAndre Swift cut back. And as I said earlier, with this being one of the more physical first team rep practices I've seen, there was, I think, a fair simulation of the run game to an extent today. The slip screens to DeAndre Swift, he catches these things. He's kind of like Spider-Man, right, Nick? Like the way he can grab the ball with one hand, bring it in up top. He's done more than a few of those this year. And the wide receiver talent just speaks for itself. So we've seen these things. And I don't know how you feel, because I know you've been kind of hard on him so far at camp this year, Carm, but I thought Tyler Scott had a really nice day today. I thought he showed, a good ability to catch with hands today.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't notice Tyler as much today as I have in other days, which is probably a good thing. But yeah, no, I think. Listen, I'm positive.
Well, let me.
But yeah, I'm not positive it's going to hit right now.
Nick, I want to read this quote from Shane Waldron today, because I do think this is one of the reasons to. I mean, I can easily sit here and make the argument that it's half full just because of Caleb.
Sure.
That is my argument right there in one sentence. That would make a lot of sense and answer the question. But I do think that what we're seeing and what we're hearing matters, especially, and I say this a lot, like what I hear from the coaches, I need to see it with my eyes. That's why I value August so much. That's why I value these practices so much, because once we get in the season, we don't get to watch practice. So they can say whatever the hell they want. We'll hear Mark Trestman say over and over again, we had a great week of practice, and they come out and they lose by 400 points, right? And then you're like, well, I don't think that's probably how this is working. But when it's August and we actually get to see practice, I can buy this quote from Shane Waldron, who was asked today, what are you seeing from Caleb that leads you to believe he is close to figuring this all out? And Shane said, I think for us, when we watch him go through his reads and his progressions, I think going to where the ball should go is happening way more times than not. And some of the things that haven't worked out have been from just a near miss here, or an angle that, wasn't feeling the right way there. Okay, got it. On to the next one. But he has been doing a good job reading with his feet, sticking within the progression, recognizing coverage structures. So seeing all those things is what really gives you the confidence moving forward. And I do think that a lot of that I'm seeing on the field, even when the play's not necessarily finishing with a catch, which, yes, at the end of the day, that has to be how it all works once this thing all comes together. But I think we've seen Caleb, and even saw some of it on Hard Knocks last night, be very intentional in what he's seeing with the coverages. I like his footwork. I like most times where he's going with the ball. And so, Nick, I can buy what Shane Waldron's saying there.
Yeah, Adam, I had that quote pulled up because we need to talk about that one, because I think when we're watching Caleb Williams, whether that play is successful or not, it doesn't usually seem like he's confused on where he needs to look, when he needs to come off of a progression and go to the next guy. He's doing that, and sometimes windows are just not open. Even whether the guys in the secondary are in or out on that defense, it looks like he knows where he needs to go. And then if he doesn't, he is scrambling. And we know that is a thing that is a positive in Caleb Williams' game. So I completely agree with what Shane Waldron's saying there. And yes, there have been some near misses. Have there been some inaccurate throws? Of course, that's happened too. But in terms of just like looking at Caleb and seeing, does he know this offense, or is he getting to know this offense better each day? It does seem like that, even if the results are not a reception, or if the ball is not moving, he's going through his reads. That is a positive in itself in every single practice, even if the ball isn't moving, completions are not being made. So I can buy what Shane Waldron's selling there.
To your point, one of my favorite plays of today was, a drop back, really nice drop, steps up to the pressure, slides over to the right. He's going through his progressions, and he checks it down to DeAndre Swift, who was open in the right flat. And DeAndre took it up for a good 10, 15 yards or so. Like, that's an example of that.
Yeah, it's a great example. And I saw that same exact play. Nick and I were talking together, and when that play happened, and I said right there in the moment, Caleb knew it was there the entire time, but he kept his eyes downfield to try to see if something else was going to open up. And it wasn't until the timing and the footwork told him, okay, I got to dump this off now, that he finally did.
Look at this. We weren't even sitting together, and we were symbiotic with our geniusness. And then Carm was doing whatever Carm was doing.
I was actually taking that note down too from Adam, sitting right there to bring up. And I'm glad that you guys just organically did it. I know I'll just add in one thing as we wrap up this conversation. I got with Kerry Josephs. I didn't have a chance to pull the audio, unfortunately, because we were scrambling today. But just along the lines of the offense scuffling, and I'm like, hey man, sometimes I see Caleb holding on to it too long, and I'm thinking, is that why is he not? What's the reason behind it? And his answer was, he's like, look, our defense is really good, so it's just there's just going to be some tough plays, and I appreciated that response. I think that very well could be it. And Eric Wachin had said something about that earlier. We'll see. If the Bears have the offense starts looking great, it will underline how good this defense really is.
Well, if you happen to see us out at camp any of these days, there's a good chance you're going to see us wearing Shady Rays, and you want to get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people, including myself. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. And they have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. They probably have a style in your favorite team's colors. And guys, I just put in a new order the other night. I got 3 new Shady Rays on the way. I didn't even know you could do this until I was on there the other night, because I don't think we've mentioned this in our ads, but now I'm about to. They gave me the option for a mystery pair.
I've done this. It's great.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know this. So I think it's for only $18. They threw in a mystery pair. So I got 3 new pairs coming on the way. I got 2 that I know I love, and then a third one that I have no idea what it's going to be, but I'm most excited about that one.
It looks like Nick is the mystery man wearing the mystery pair with the graphic at the bottom of the screen. If you're watching,
I'm trying to angle myself.
YouTube.
I think it's working.
No, it's perfect. You do look like a man of mystery there, Nick.
I'm gonna be honest. I need to get up on the Shady Rays website because we were given a couple pairs when they started, and I've lost them all. I have no idea where they are. I'm gonna do the ordering today. Hope.
Well, this is why Shady Rays is so good, because they have broken and lost replacements that come with the glasses. So if you break them, you lose them. You just say, hey, I need my Shady Rays, and I need them to look as good as they look on Nick right now. So exclusive for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use code CHGO. You'll get 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Everyone go check out Shady Rays. And I have to tell you about a new sponsor for CHGO, Rugged Road. Super excited about them. Rugged Road, guys, is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Our products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions, whether you're on land or water. Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every single adventure, and also has floatability, which is also one of the most unique features of Rugged Road coolers, is their ability to always float upright. Never lose a drink. Like that a lot. They also have a lightweight design. Unlike other heavy-duty coolers, Rugged Road coolers are incredibly light, making them easy to transport on any trip without compromising on performance. And they're also durability and dependability. They have all of that. Crafted to handle the toughest environments, their coolers are built to last, ensuring they can keep up with any adventure. The coolers are guaranteed to keep their contents cool for up to 7 days, but oftentimes much longer than that. That's amazing. And of course, they have the versatility, perfect for a variety of outdoor activities, from fishing to tubing to camping and tailgating. These coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor or sports enthusiast. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers, reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use the code CHGO for 10% off.
All right, got a super chat we got to jump into right away, and then we have some good stuff from some of the assistant coaches we got to talk to on the offensive side of the football today. But first, we start with Eric Cardwell, $50 super chat coming in strong today on this August 7th. Eric says, I have been trying to convince my wife for 30 years to be a Bears fan. She asked me the other day to pause your show so she wouldn't miss anything. That's huge. He says, a box of donuts or drinks are on me. Boys, you have made her a fan. Whoa. We're going to go with the drinks.
Let's go.
I mean,
donuts sound good too.
Eric, you're thanking us, and we're thanking you. But you've done this. You have put in the time. You have tried different options, and you just ultimately came up with the best option, which is, of course, us. Probably me. But
I like to call it mind manipulation. You just wear somebody down to a nub until they finally give in to your demands. That's basically been my routine my whole life. That's how I got my wife to marry me. That's how I'll get Mark Carman to one day understand why I'm such a genius and such a great friend to him. And, I'll continue to wear all of you down like a nub.
Didn't you call him fat like 2 hours ago?
I did. That's part of the process.
He's wearing him down.
Part of the mind manipulation process, Adam. You're also a victim of this right now as well. So
no, listen, this is my best friend to my right on this podcast. He's so supportive, and there's nothing that he's ever said that I would ever quibble with today, including on this show that I've been hard on Tyler Scott. I would never quibble with such a thing. I would disagree with everything that Greg says because he's here to make me better.
You have been somewhat hard. I haven't.
No. I pointed out that he needs to catch football better. That's not being hard on my guy. I love my guy. Right, let's go.
He's saying, all right, fine.
Thank you.
Quibbling. The quibble. We'll have a quibble segment going forward.
I have some audio from running backs coach Chad Morton I want to get to here in a second. Before we get to Coach Morton, I don't know if he goes by that, but I just called him that. I want to just quick follow up on Hard Knocks from last night because we saw the slip and slide segment, and I had to talk to Kerry Joseph, the quarterback's coach, who, if you watched Hard Knocks last night, this isn't really a spoiler. The Bears put out a video of it like a week ago, too, if you haven't seen it. By the way, whenever you're done watching Hard Knocks, or if you've already done and you haven't checked out our recap episode from last night, CHGO Bears After Dark, must listen, huge numbers. Appreciate everybody that tuned in for that live and this morning. It's also in your podcast feed, so go check it out. But they showed the slip and slide that Kerry Joseph, this goes back to when he was a player, actually, and he mentioned it in the quarterback meeting, and Flus loved it. So they got it going, and they took it out to, I believe, field 3, and apparently the quarterbacks challenged him to go first. They said, you got to go first, coach. And so Kerry Joseph said, once I got challenged, it was like, let's go get it. He said, hey, you got to lead. Got to lead the way if you're the coach. Now, if you watched this last night, they showed it in slow motion, and you could see him nearly hit his head, which we talked about last night, that he almost went into the concussion protocol as his head whipped back. And he did admit today to me when I asked him about it, he said he woke up with a sore neck the next day. He was at the team hotel. He went to go work out, and he's like, man, my neck is not feeling great. And he's like, had to be the whiplash from the slip and slide the night before. So I'm glad they're all having fun with it. Greg's having a heart attack because he's worried that
no more slip and slide.
That the very athletic 23-year-old quarterback's going to do that instead of,
anybody can get whiplash on a slip and slide. All right. They're all cordially invited to my cul-de-sac. If they want to have a swim, you can get in my pool. No slip and slide. We'll just drink Crown and Diets and be safe.
Hard Knocks will be in your backyard. They're doing slip and slides in Indiana.
All right. To tee up this conversation with Chad Morton, we've talked about this, and if you've been out to a practice, you've seen it. And if you haven't heard this, you should, because to me, it's been one of the most entertaining, if not the most entertaining thing about training camp on a daily basis. But that has been Chad Morton on the offensive side, just going at it with the defense constantly. And he's really kind of the only one on the offensive side of the ball. It's really just him kind of being over there by the defensive sideline and chirping, and he's doing it with the coaches and the players. And there's a method to his madness, he says. So we talked about that, but also very notable is how he's constantly running up and down the field after his running backs when they make a big play. And So as we had some opportunity to talk to Chad Morton today, that's the first thing I had to ask him about.
So how much do you run during the practice?
Oh my goodness, probably not enough. I could afford to lose a few more pounds. But whatever gets the guys going, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to lead by example, so that way I can't ask these guys to run if I'm not running. That's how I feel. So I got to keep running, get them to run.
So you took that upon yourself to be kind of like the juice guy, the energy guy?
You know, somebody's got to do it, you know what I mean? But I want these guys to have fun at the same time. You know, all this work too, right? It's hard work, so why not have fun? Why not have good energy out there? I told these guys, you know, I've been telling them, hey, match me. I want you guys to match my energy, try to beat me every time from drill to drill. And if you're not, I'm going to talk trash to you. So they try it sometimes, but, you know, I got to get the jump on them. But just try to make it fun.
You guys have had Velus working the running backs this week. Mm-hmm. That's the plan through the Buffalo game. What's that been like, and what have you seen from him so far?
It's awesome. I love it. I love having him back there. What a great kid, man. I just appreciated his hard work in the room, too, and just, you know, he's diligent about his work, and he studies hard, and he's just, you know, he's trying to make it work. And, you know, it's tough switching their position, you know, let alone just learning the plays, but just learning how to run. We had a good, you know, reading the right hole and you know, leverage and getting your pads down, all that stuff is, you know, still new for him. So he's doing a fantastic job, and I can't wait to see what happens.
What were the conversations like among the staff leading up to that decision to say, like, hey, let's try him here?
Just because he's shown so much as a ball carrier, you know, and like even when I first got here, I saw him on tape running the ball. It's like, oh, he needs to be a running back. So I've been kind of chirping a little bit that, you know, and then just the matchup problem that he can create, you know, just like a Devo Samuels type where he can still be a receiver, but, you know, line up in the backfield and still run the ball, and also kickoff return, everything.
What do you like about his body type that could translate?
He's big, fast, and he's got a great attitude, and he's tough. You know, so you put all those things together. You see him running out there trying to lower his shoulder. You know, sometimes you got to talk a running back into doing that. You know, I mean, you would think it's just natural, but like a lot of guys want to try to get extra yards. He has the speed to get around the edge, and then when there's nothing left, he's going to put his pads down. So I don't even have to talk him into that stuff. That's just who he is. So when you're that big, I mean, he's a big kid. He don't, you know, not just tall, but he's, you know, he's well built. So, and he can run. So. Yeah.
It's been fun kind of hearing from some of the defensive players when they talk about you. all the chirping going on back there. I think Kevin Byers said you're his favorite offensive coach. But just what's that interaction been like? Seems like, you know, that back and forth has been constant throughout every practice we've seen.
Yeah, well, you know what? We're just trying to be competitive out there, you know, and get each other going. Because I know when they talk trash, it gets me going and gets my guys going, and vice versa. So we're just trying to, you know, make it exciting out there and compete and have fun and, you know, go at each other and, you know, make it competitive. So that's really all it's about. It's not just to talk trash, and we do it in a respectful way too. You know, I mean, it's not going to be where I'm going to talk trash if a player just, you know, got beat. A lot of times I'm talking trash to the other coaches, and so then they start to back him up. So, you know, I kind of like being that villain, that antagonist. So because when I start talking trash, it gets everybody together, and then they all start coming together. So that's the whole point. So then when they all start coming together and they start talking, then our guys got to pick it up, and then our guys' offense has to come together. So that's really the whole reason why I do it.
Yeah,
there's actually a method to my madness, not just talking trash.
Yeah. No, I believe you, because like even today I noticed in practice, like DeMarcus Walker, you and him were like kind of laughing it off at one point too. Yeah. So I mean, I think that's a sign of the respect that's being built there at the same time.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's fun because like now, you know, I'm in at first I know they probably like, who is this little 4'11" guy out here talking trash? But now, you know what I mean, they're stopping me in the lunchroom and talking, and we sit down and, you know, I talk to all the guys. So, you know, we still chirp out there, but, you know, it's just good. We're all good teammates, and we're really close once we're off the field.
Should also mention that DeMarcus Walker, speaking of him, had I believe is the first taunting penalty I've ever seen actually thrown in a practice. I mean, I've seen some that probably should be called, but they actually eventually, after about 15, 20 seconds of celebration and taunting over a nice play he had, and taking his helmet off and talking some of that trash that is being certainly egged on by running backs coach Chad Morton, they did get DeMarcus Walker for taunting.
Yeah, that was on the 2-minute drill. I wanted him to send the offense back out there, then give him another shot, but they didn't do that.
But it was, you know, a moment I think it was right before that, or maybe it was after that. It was somewhere around the same time. You saw Chad Morton and Walker kind of laughing some things off too. And so it really, to me, has been respectful and motivating. And I want people to hear some of the method to that madness that he's talking about, because I'm sure that all of us, including some of the players, as he mentioned there, were probably wondering, back in the spring, who the hell is this new coach that's just constantly pushing our buttons over the silliest stuff? But I do feel like it's been mostly productive, Carm.
Well, right. And for people who don't know who he is, he played at USC. He was a 5th round draft pick and with New Orleans back in 2000. And he was a great returner, man. He was a Pro Bowl alternate one year. And I hadn't got a chance to talk to him ever. Today was my first day in front of him. He was beyond impressive. That guy is an asset for the Bears. And part of the reason why he's like, one of the things he does after every drill is he runs down, to the goal line literally all the time with him. He's exhausted at the end of practice. And he's like, well, that's what I did as a player, because I felt like, every play I'm trying to score and I don't want to be the one that I break through. And all of a sudden, now I got to go and I'm not conditioned to do it. So I asked him, who's been running the most, and I kind of let him into it. I said, I've been calling him Forrest Gump, Khalil Herbert. He's like, Khalil's probably at the top. He's like, but most of the guys are right there with him. It's because they track it. They're wearing something. They track the stuff. So it's
Chad Morton. Mark.
I love that guy.
He's got infectious energy, and it's nice that since the start of this training camp, and we know how grueling and long it can be. He's brought that same type of energy consistently every single practice, whether it's a good day, bad day for the offense. You're going to get that from Chad Morton every single time. So I really do. When I spoke to him back in OTAs, I'm like, whoa, this guy's he's different. And I'm glad he has not changed one bit up to this point in training camp.
Yeah. And you wonder, because you saw yesterday the DB's coach Overstreet saying it's rip their souls out every time you touch this grass, and you rip their hearts out, and so what's going to make the cutting room floor on Hard Knocks? I'm curious to see some of this taunting, because at one point at the end of practice, Jalen Johnson came off after everyone was yelling. So I don't know if he was imitating Morton or not, but Jalen goes row, 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 as he's going, because one of the coaches is yelling. So it made everyone on the sidelines, all the fans in the stands laugh a little bit there. Well, the other thing you mentioned there, Chad Morton, is Velus Jones, and he's continuing to elevate into more of a running back role. You saw some runs out of the backfield last year. You started to see a couple reps the last couple weeks, maybe singular reps. Now all of a sudden it's most of his reps are coming out of the backfield. He had a couple where he, went out for a catch as a receiver, but most of his reps coming out of the backfield. And at one point he completely trucked a guy over the middle. I don't know if any of you guys caught who that was. I think I did have it in my notes in my 900 tweets, but I'd have to go back and find it. But Velus running with authority at one point. So, hey, I definitely got my ears perked up in that regard with Velus.
Carm, I wanted to ask you what you thought about that, because he invoked the name Deebo Samuel in there. Deebo Samuel,
oh no,
situation. Now, this is where I think
we're not going back to Deebo light comps, are we? We're back to his draft, the year he was drafted, Nick. Oh no.
Well, real quickly, Velus tried to go up for a catch. I think I was like, oh, there's Velus trying to say he's still a receiver, and the ball went right through his hands.
Yeah, it didn't make it.
You're going back to running back.
But I did find it interesting, Carm, that Chad was like, going back to when I first turned on his tape when he got here, I was like, I want this guy as a running back. And he said he's been kind of campaigning for it, and now he's finally getting it this week.
Well, and we discussed this yesterday, and then I wrote about it in my 3 things, which is an unbelievable thing you get in your if you're a diehard here, because my analysis in written form is just even better than my brilliant analysis right here. But I went back and looked at the stats with Velus just out of curiosity, because the way I'm remembering it, Velus is, getting 1 yard on some weird sprint motion run where nothing happens. But he's actually been impressive in the opportunities he's gotten. Statistically, he has 17 attempts running the football so far, and 154 yards over the last 2 years. That's 9.1 yards per carry. So the concept of wanting to see him do it more based on numbers makes a whole lot of sense. So I as I was just looking at it last, I'm like, well, okay, hey, listen, even though I think he's looked better as a receiver, if a guy like Chad Morton is seeing this and they want to take a shot at it, now's the time to do it. The only thing that I'm quibbling with here is put him on the freaking field. He should have played in week 1. He should play a bunch on Saturday. See what he can do. Give him 5 carries back there. It makes no sense for Velus to not be playing in these games.
Preach, Mark Carman. That's 100% the fact. Gary Ross helping me in the chat. He sat next to me at practice today and yesterday. So shout out to our guy Gary. Micah Baskerville is the player that Velus Jones Jr. ran over in I think it was second team was out there. So I mean it's like Cordero Patterson. They eventually made him a running back, and he was extremely effective. Obviously, Cordero has a much better resume than what Velus has to this point, but you like to see the involvement. And hey, if you're going to try to make him worthy of a roster spot, find the right spot for him, and in the backfield, giving teams a different look might be the right path.
Well, look, I think you're going to see him in the backfield this week. It's easy to say, well, get him some carries. Why didn't they do this last week? Well, listen, maybe they should have tried this experiment last week. But at some point, it dawned on them that this is what they should do this week. And you can't just say, hey, go play running back. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know what the playbook says to do. There are runs left, there's runs right, there's different types of runs, obviously, whatever the scheme is, and it's a lot you have to put together, and you can't just do it overnight. So that's why he's there this week. He's in the running back room, he's in the running back drills, he's learning the plays and what he's supposed to do, and whatever the sample size of plays that they were able to install for him this week as a running back, I believe you will see them in Buffalo on Saturday with him in the backfield.
You know what, Hoge? That's a very fair, cogent point, and you're absolutely right. Set a guy up for success. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail, and that's what they would have been doing, so they are preparing. Excellent point. Can I do a breaking thing before we move along here to what's been breaking at CHGO? Nothing's breaking officially, Hoge. I see you looking around. But
did Braggs break something else?
No, but
in your house.
I'm gonna break Carm's hip with a hip drop, and he won't even know what that was when I did it to him.
Okay.
That was a great callback from yesterday.
Callback.
Yeah. No. Listen. Apparently, everybody on the show and everybody just wants more officiating and less football. I was crazy for the points that I was making yesterday. Let's call the hip drop, and let's call the ankle drop, and let's call the knee drop, and let's call the point.
I'm sorry I brought it up. Jeez.
Yeah. No. I just want to see football. But so when we were walking out today, the Hard Knocks Crew's 4 camera people were walking into the parking lot, and then a van came up. Nick, you were there at that point. And yep. I'm not reporting this, Hoge, and I could be wrong, but I think the Bears there's some new player that landed in the building today, and I think so. Just don't be surprised.
You cannot say this. What are you?
I can.
Oh my God.
I can, and I did. And you can settle down and be a human being.
You're
and relax.
killing me, dude.
New players coming. I don't know.
Give me a name.
I have you. You're the new player.
Steve Smith was there today. Are you telling us we're signing Steve Smith?
I'm telling you that the Hard Knocks cameras moved, and I'm telling you a van showed up. I don't know anything. I don't know.
But
that's what I'm telling
me.
You.
You're killing me.
Greggy, are you going to be okay?
No, let's not do this.
Hoge might kill you here for sharing this here. Now you've got everybody buzzing.
It's not private.
How do you know it was a player? Because I
Yeah.
already know they have a couple things up their sleeves that they're doing with the team, and I know of at least one celebrity that I'm not going to give away because I don't want to spoil it for Hard Knocks.
It could be a celebrity.
Okay,
so somebody's coming to talk to the team at some point.
All right, I'll walk it back. It might not be a player. A VIP. Something was happening.
Okay. Well, that quickly changed from new player on the team to VIP.
I'm gonna blame Herb Howard. He thinks it was a new player, but maybe Herb was wrong. Whatever.
Now he bust tosses Herb for no reason.
Oh, he deserved it. He put me in that position. Listen, this is not. Do you understand?
Have your own news judgment.
Let me.
Don't blame Herb.
No, listen. I'm with Herb, and I'm with.
Has
Nick.
Herb gone on some show in the last 5 minutes and giving it away?
I don't think so.
See, this is where
Herb might show up in the comments.
This is where I need to remind everybody. This is not a courtroom. This is entertainment. This is the fun thing. Nothing I'm saying is important. We're here to be entertained and talk about football. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. No one's in trouble.
Make sure you clip that, Stephen, where he said nothing I say is important.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, do you think that your good friends and previous coworkers, Nick Wright and Danny Parkins, have that same mentality? That nothing they say is important?
Yes. 100%. I've had this exact conversation with him.
Okay. Well, I can tell you for sure they don't go on the air and say that. Instead,
he does. Are you kidding? Those
are words.
Those are words. He tweets it and says it, and I think he's doing okay in his career. This doesn't. Golly.
Don't tell people that. Nick picked the Bears to go to the other Nick Wright picked the Bears to go to the Super Bowl yesterday.
Exactly, and that means nothing. But it's fun. It's entertaining. I'm entertained. I think it's interesting.
Loud noises.
I would never want to be Skip Bayless. That guy is a complete idiot. Okay.
Everything I say and report here is important. Nothing Carm says is important. That's what we've learned today.
Okay. Okay.
What a time. That was great.
Okay. Is the show over? I
don't even know.
Let's give Carm some credit. We didn't reach that moment where he asked that question until the 57-minute mark. So that's good. Yeah.
It show's not over. We have super chats to get to.
I'll stay on for another 3 hours. I got a lot to say.
Your career might be over. Marco F 999. Met Braggs today at my first Bears practice today. Very sorry for Carm.
Yes.
Thank you, Marco.
Marco, including everybody else that's come up to me here at Hallis Hall this year. I have now made it a tradition to say thank you for tuning in. I'm sorry about Mark Carman, and it always elicits a pretty good laugh. So
this says very sorry for Carm. You don't understand that he's attacking you.
No. He's saying that I promise you, because I remember Marco. I just talked to him like an hour ago. He's saying I am very sorry for Carm. You just aren't reading it right. I promise you. Don't worry. We are all very sorry for you.
I'm giving Steven the power to boot whoever he wants off the show right now.
Tally brand makes sense. I don't think it did.
I don't know. You guys argue about it for the rest of the day. I have other more important things to do
after the show.
The crown of Chi-Town, $10. Do you think Kevin Warren will announce the new stadium on Hard Knocks? No. Unless the only situation that's happening is if something drastically changes with Arlington Heights in the next 3 weeks and they announce that. Because I can tell you, there ain't nothing happening with the lakefront before the Hard Knocks is over.
Mm-mm. The Browns unveiled their plans for a $2.4 billion dome stadium in Brook Park, for the record.
Good.
They can use an upgrade. I didn't like their stadium last year.
Yeah, the stadium's fine. It's right on a lake and it's cold.
It is, yeah.
It's next to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, though, which is cool.
It is. Yep.
Awesome place.
Kurt, shout out Braggs for saying hey from the stands today. Had to wear the JF water slide t-shirt today for CHGO.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Kurt.
Appreciate it,
and he
Kurt.
did have the sweet light blue Bears hat that I wanted to steal from him. Crystal Simone, 1999 super chat. We love you, Crystal. What do you want, Adam? What did you say?
Wow. What do you want, Adam?
I was gonna say leave Crystal's super chat up there because you mentioned the light blue hat. Is that part of like a new collection? Because the team was wearing light blue sweatpants and sweatshirts, their travel gear to Canton last week, and it looked really. I mean, if you were paying attention on Hard Knocks last night, you saw it, but it looked good in person too. Because I saw some of them wearing it before they left last week.
Yeah, he said that he got that hat a few years ago, but I did see somebody else with a light blue, I think Bears shirt. And you're talking about those sweats, so I don't know. I want my hands on some of that gear because the light blue just brings out the eyes, Mark, and I know how you like to get lost in my eyes. Crystal Simone, 1999 super chat. We appreciate you, Crystal. Hey guys, just sending love. I've been a little quiet the past few days. And that's not okay, Crystal. So your apology not accepted. Loved Hard Knocks and waiting on next week's. Keep up the great work. Love you guys. Bear down.
Crystal, you know how good you are. When you're quiet, I actually noticed that you're quiet. I was thinking I've missed Crystal the last couple of days, and here you are. So thank you so much for the super chat, because that's why you're amazing. And I'll read this. Pizzatola brags, I apologize for my nonsense super last night. I was completely distracted by my dog. Throwing the dog under the dog bus, I pulled a Carm and sounded like an idiot. Unlike Carm, I can and will do better. CHGO for the win. Sincerely, Pizzatola.
That's better. Way to bounce back, Pizzatola. Way to bounce back, kid.
Good mindset.
We had periods and commas and
The only other thing I meant to mention earlier when we didn't get into it about glass half full versus glass half empty of the offense, the other thing that I think should be of note is there were 2 false starts, but they were only on the second team. I didn't see any pre-snap penalties on the first team offensive line today.
By the way,
I know that's a small bar that we're trying to overcome here, but progress.
Larry Borman at right tackle when Darnell Wright left the rest of practice. All right, couple other comments I think we were going to get in here.
Yeah, Rob Daniel had a question that I thought was a good one for you, Hoge, and I'll set it up for you. And but Rob says, Hoge, you were critical of Fields and the ball hitting the ground too much in 7-on-7s last year. How has Caleb fared, for comparison's sake, to let us know his progress? Because I think a lot of people just continue to want to know the difference between last year's camp versus this year's camp.
Yeah, I mean, I think 7-on-7s have been better. I don't think they've been perfect, but I think they've been better. I also think that, especially earlier on when the defense was fully healthy, it was a pretty big challenge because some of those windows, and you saw it last night briefly on Hard Knocks, where Flus actually had to say something that Caleb, like, these windows close too fast for you to throw that late. So I think it's been really good for him. I think the defense too. I was talking to Adam Johns about this today. I think like you're seeing a lot of blitzing from the defense, and I don't know so much that that's going to be like a trend of the defense as much as it's them trying to throw a lot at Caleb. Because if you're paying attention to things, a lot of what they're doing in practice is about the quarterback.
Yeah, and well, actually, too, Shane Waldron said, like, these practices are designed to be way harder than the games. Like, that's the whole goal of these practices, so that when Caleb gets to those games, preseason, regular season, he would have seen everything. We've seen nickel blitzes. We've seen TJ Edwards come off the edge. We've seen a lot of stuff being thrown at Caleb. So, again, going back to what Shane Waldron was saying about the offense and what he feels about Caleb, it's because he's being challenged every single day. And what Eberflus said, 213 snaps, I think was a number that he said in Hard Knocks. Like, they're getting a lot of reps in these practices. You're not going to get that in a game. You're going to get about, 60, 70, whatever it may be on a max. So they're being challenged. And I guess we're seeing that in terms of what the defense is challenging Caleb with.
Well, and Carm's brought it up. Like, there's been times where Caleb holds on to the ball too long, and sometimes those do come in 7-on-7 drills. The one thing I will say, the difference between last year and this year in that regard, Rob, is Justin was doing a lot of side to side, east and west throws, a lot of check downs, whether it was 7-on-7s or 11-on-11s. And you see more of an emphasis with this offense and this quarterback to push the ball down the field. So that has led to incompletions or even interceptions. And at times Caleb holding onto the ball too long when that's not really the point of the drill. But I'll take more incompletions. To Carm's brought this point up for 2 years now. Have more incompletions, make more mistakes, but be aggressive and learn the windows that you're trying to throw into instead of trying to play it safe and continue to check the ball down. This is the time of year to test those things.
All right, wrapping it up with Gritty 499. Just want to say all the work you guys have put in is appreciated. Best Bears coverage around. Nick, I saw you on Hard Knocks.
See, there it is. There you go. Gritty saw it, the tiny little speck in that media center. That was me. Made my day.
I saw you in the comments. You're like, I was on too. And then I go on Twitter and saw your picture and I was cracking up. You're going to get another shot, Nick. You're going to get, we need the best looking guy, on this cast to make a hit. The last thing we need is our 3 ugly mugs on there and not yours.
Full agreement. Nick's gorgeous.
Cole's gorgeous. Cole Kmet has now knocked us all down one notch on the good-looking list here at CHGO Sports.
Speaking of that, we wanted to play this before we got out of here. Probably should have done a little bit earlier, but Cole did have a message for everybody who might be interested in checking out the new show, which is called The 85 with Cole Kmet.
Bears fans, what's up? It's Cole Kmet, and I got some big news. I'm going to be dropping a new podcast this season called The 85, and it should be a blast to follow along all season long. If you have ever wondered what it's really like to be in the locker room, the huddle with us, I'm going to be teaming up with CHGO to give you guys a behind-the-scenes look of the league and our team that you've never even heard from before. From game breakdowns to interviews with some of my teammates and maybe a few surprise guests as well, The 85 will be the place to be this year. So you can go find The 85 with Cole Kmet on your favorite podcast provider. And don't forget to hit up our The 85 with Cole Kmet YouTube channel for exclusive video content. We're kicking things off this month, so hit those subscribe buttons now and receive the first episode. I appreciate you guys. Looking forward to seeing you guys soon. Bear down.
And that is available to subscribe to right now. Go check it out. It's a separate YouTube channel. That's big. That's different for us. So it is a CHGO ALLCITY show, but it is going to have its separate YouTube channel. So go check that out, especially now that this show's over. Maybe we can drop a link in the description or somewhere. But it's just, the 85 with Cole Kmet YouTube channel. Check that out. Hit subscribe, just like you do with this one, and same thing in your podcast feed. Go hit subscribe there. Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to your podcast, it's there right now. The trailer, basically that video is in there, so it's populated with something. Yes, Carm, the first episode will drop next week.
Well, just a couple of things. One, super excited that Cole Kmet is back with us. The 85 is going to be amazing. Excited that he's going to be on this show. Excited for Cole Kmet, period. First class all the way. Appreciated Cole from the second that he's joined us last year. Secondly, I am wondering, what is the percentage chance that I am one of the surprise guests? I haven't been reached out to yet at this point, but I'm assuming that I'm being considered heavily, and I am available, and just want that to be known to Cole and his team that I could be considered and will promise to be everything that Cole needs me to be.
Carmen, everyone knows you're available.
Yeah, you'll be.
Hey, shout out to my guy Jimmy and Big Jim. Jimmy and Big Jim were sitting in front of the media today, and they said hello, and they're going to be at our tailgates. Got to meet Big Jim, his dad. Jimmy is our Nicholas Moreano age range type, and they were awesome. Ooh. So yeah, I and granted, I think that Jimmy and Big Jim have a better chance of being a surprise guest on the 85 than I do. But anyway, it's awesome to meet those guys today.
Yeah, it's always cool to meet the fans at Hallis Hall, coming up and say hi. It's humbling and really cool, and we appreciate all your support. The other thing too, giving shout outs. Yesterday was a really big day and a fun day, a long day of Bears football content here at CHGO, and obviously the Hard Knocks stuff was a lot of fun. Seeing Cole Kmet rocking the CHGO gear on Hard Knocks, but also want to give a shout out to our guy Adam Rank, who I was spending the day with, here at training camp. We ended up going back to the CHGO Sports Studios and got to get a little behind the scenes look as he did a hit on NFL Insiders with Tom Pelissero from our Studio B over there in the West Loop, and watching him kind of go to work was really cool. Shout out to Lawrence for helping get all that set up as well. But yeah, he was rocking his CHGO gear all day yesterday and giving a lot of love on NFL Network to what we do here at CHGO Bears. So shout out to him as well.
And we did drop that link to the Cole Kmet channel in the comments, so you can't find it there and easily access
close to
it.
1,000 subscribers already. Close to 1,000. So let's get it up there.
Let's go.
You know how
Carman.
long it took me to get to 1,000 subscribers on my Brags in the Stands podcast? This is bullshit.
You might want to consider why. Shout out to Herb Howard, my guy, who, by the way, will be joining us for our pregame, postgame action Saturday with preseason game number 2 with Buffalo.
Nice.
Did I shout out my chauffeur today? And I had the greatest conversation with the fine gentleman who drove me in today, and because they've got the golf carts way out, and most people walk, but since I'm such an elite athlete and I've got a huge match with Blake tonight at 6:00, I needed to save my legs, so I got to walk. I got a ride in today, and I said I would shout my guy out, and I didn't write down his name, and I can't do it, and that's terrible. So I will make that right. But thank you for reminding me that. So now it's on the notes.
Hey, and you guys gotta help me out tomorrow when you're at practice. I know it's closed, so I need you guys to help me out here. Last 2 days, Mark Potash, my guy, Potsy, is my guy. He's walked past on the bleachers 2 times. I've called him out, and he just keeps going, ignores me. So I need somebody to find out if me and Potsy got beef.
You have to understand how popular Potsy is. The people are screaming at him all the time. He can't just stop for everybody. That's why.
Well, you just tell him, A, my feelings are hurt, and B, if we do have beef, that he can expect a long-winded tweet about it on Twitter.
You're threatening Mark Potash?
I just threatened Mark Potash. It's
go
probably
Twitter,
not the smartest thing I've done.
No.
But I'm not a very smart guy, so
could be the nicest guy in the media room. I don't. Hoge, how do you want to handle this?
Very nice.
Mark
I just had a
Potash is
hypothetical
great on
beef.
Twitter.
Friend of the program.
I'd just like to end the show by saying you do not want to get in Twitter beef with Potsy because that man owns Twitter.
He does.
And he's a big supporter, even in his own Potsy way. Like last night, basically making fun of us for how much we celebrated Cole Kmet wearing a CHGO shirt on Hard Knocks.
People were thought we needed to settle down in that media room about celebrating that T-shirt. That's fine.
You know what?
Jealousy is it's a hard thing to swallow.
Jealousy is a stinky cologne. There, the rest of you in that media room. All right. Don't hate us.
Right down your alley. Don't
hate us because you hate us. You goddamn right, Mark Carman. Hey, Hoge was flexing last night on the After Dark show too. So, get the competition breeds success for everyone. So embrace it.
Yeah, we can take a look at the scoreboard. All right. We'll be back tomorrow, 2:00.
We
Let's
beat the
go.
squirrel? We took out the squirrel? Okay, never mind. Keep going.
Nobody knows what the hell you're talking about.
Why can't you just let me have the last word and end the show?
Go ahead.
You gotta say something no one understands.
That's
Goodbye,
what I do.
everybody. Go subscribe to the 85 with Cole Kmet. Also, hit the damn like button here too. And if you're new, hit the subscribe button. Send us off to a friend. We're here every day. We're back tomorrow. Practice is closed to the public, but we will still be here with the post-practice show, 2:00 right here. CHGO Bears.
We all silly like the mayor.